Before there were words, there were simple sounds and very simple and basic thoughts and expressions. As words came into practice, languages evolved and thoughts got a flight of creativity. From being simple, they started becoming complicated. It is important to note that we always tend to think in words. For ages, the world believed in the theory of absolutes. Things were believed to be just as they seemed to be. Earth was believed to be flat. Einstein's theory of relativity contradicted the belief totally and said, what is true for you may not be true for someone else. And suddenly the universe seemed to be much greater and diversified, yet easier to understand. Numerology is a language of numbers, which on one hand simplifies the codes so that we can better understand ourselves, and on the other hand, it opens us towards the limitless possibilities that we can be tapping. In the world through which I travel, I endlessly create myself. Once again, every alphabet in our names has special meanings of its own. First letter and the last letter of our first names, first vowel in our name, and the repeat letters are all the special letters that we have. And whenever a letter is said to be special, its effects become stronger than the other letters. Also, each letter is activated during a particular age span, which is also known as a peak cycle. When activated, the letter plays a special role, and all of it has to be judged in conjunction with the other numbers in our blueprint. In the previous two logs, we have covered the alphabets which resonated up to the numeric value of 6, and in this log, we are going to talk about 7, 8, and 9. G, P, and Y are those sevens. 7 is the number of mysticism and clairvoyance. 7 is a dreamer, philosopher, and an intellectual, and G is purely a 7. Special letter Gs always believe that there is more to things than what really meets the eye, and hence they are very hard to convince. G activated during a peak cycle means that you would find material gains, success, and happiness, all of it, but only when you are actually not chasing all that. If you chase it, you might feel very frustrated. Things would just naturally tend to fall into place without you having to push. It is a very favorable period for creative activities of all kind like music, art, literature, etc. P is a 16-7. P is clever, intelligent, and knowledgeable, good with writing skills and speaking skills, and P has very bright prospects for creative or academic pursuits. However, P comes with a little warning. During a P running time, you do not take much of speculative risks, because during this time your reaction time might become a little slow towards managing unforeseen events. Otherwise, P would be fine. You do not chase materialistic goals once again during a 7 running time. You just naturally go with the flow, and universe provides you with all the supplies, and you do not also physically overwork during a 7 running time, and especially if your P comes with a T or a B. Y is a 25-7, and because here we have the influences of 5 and also 7 finally, Ys need a lot of time alone. Ys do not like limitations at all. Y also is a very spiritual and intuitive letter. Now, as you can see the shape of Y, it is something like one road branching out into two. So a Y activated during a peak cycle might put you in a decision making position. It is something like where you have to choose which road you have to take, and once you have made the choice, be sure that you are not in two minds. H, Q, and Z are the 8s, and 8 is all about money, money, money. It can bring you a lot of money and a lot of glory, or it can be simply getting you bankrupt. It is a very, very powerful force and has to be taken very seriously. If it is going wrong or if it is going negative, it has to be turned. You have to make it sure that you turn it. And I know it is not easy to turn, because once you have been giving your 100% and you're following a direction with a lot of conviction, you just cannot give up after so much of hard work has gone into it. But sometimes we might be tirelessly digging the wrong place and the gold might be waiting somewhere else. H, Q, and Z, all of them attract money and are very, very powerful letters. H is like a gate as seen in the shape of it. It can either open and lead you to success, or it can become an obstacle in your path. H activated during a peak cycle is like the harvest time. You get the results for all the choices that you have made in your past. Q is a quirky letter and has a certain air of mystery. Q attracts people, attracts money, but can be pretty eccentric and unstable. Q is a 17-8. 1 and 7 are both mind numbers, and hence Q can be also indicative of a lot of intuitive and mental activity when activated during a peak cycle. Amongst all the other letters, Q has a very unique and a special quality. Like, for example, it is always used with a U. So Q in itself is a very, very different, original, quirky, and a creative entity. Z is a 26-8 and is more compassionate, intuitive, perceptive, diplomatic, and humane 8 out of the other two 8s. Z is also more optimistic and dynamic out of the other two. If you also see the shape of a Z, you would see that it follows a zigzag track. Z, when activated during a peak cycle, also follows a track like that. There can be obstacles and setbacks once in a while, but you would finally overcome all the limitations and ultimately receive massive, massive progress. There can also be certain hidden progress sometimes. And finally, we have our 9s, which are I and R. 9 is indicative of creativity, compassion, and completion. I, being purely a 9, is a very, very artistic vowel. Also, it likes to finish everything that it has begun. I activated during a peak cycle can be a very, very emotional time, as possibilities of a lot of ups and downs would remain. People during this point of time, or even with a repeat vowel I, can be very emotionally high-strung and restless. Calmness, focus, and willpower are the keywords. These are the qualities that would bring runs of good luck, or else ups and downs might tend to continue. R is 18-9. 1 and 8 make the 9 more powerful as compared to the I. R2 is a very emotional letter and a very compassionate letter, but it is more focused. R activated during a peak cycle might bring you money, power, and authority, and there can be opportunities to elevate your financial status as well. There can be a lot of new plans, new ideas, and sometimes a new occupation as well. All in all, there is a lot of pace in this letter. However, 2 consecutive hours in one name must be avoided, as too much of a pace can make a person accident prone. When we would write our full name on a piece of a paper and concentrate upon the qualities of each letters found in our name and also on the qualities of the letters which are missing, we will have a deeper revelation of ourselves. The sequence of the letters is very important. Which letter comes after which one, and which are the letters that repeat? It all would be indicative of the momentum that we would get in our lives. Possibilities are endless, and it all depends on which are the talents that we choose to tap. Numerology is widely used as a future predictive tool. But once again, I believe No tool, however much sophisticated it is, can totally predict the limitless possibilities of the universe. Numerology is a window towards the limitless for me. And in the world through which I travel, once again, I can just endlessly keep on creating myself.